Good afternoon, 7th graders. If you've done this already and filled out this entire formula sheet, feel free to go on and do your worksheet on your own. If you have questions, however, feel free to pay attention and fill this in, especially if you were gone either of the last 2 days. You need to pay attention and fill this in. So our first one we're going to discuss is a rectangular prism, which is like a box. Think of a sandbox or a Kleenex box, cereal box. And we're talking about just volume. We're just going to label this here as the height for H and say it's 12 inches. I'm going to call this one the length, L, and it is 7 inches. And finally down here we have the width, and it is 4 inches. This comes into play when we write the formulas over here. Now, if you think of volume, and please, if I'm writing too fast, pause, write things down and play, all right? Over here we've got to fill in, and when we talk about volume, we're talking about how much it takes to fill something. How much sand does it take to fill the sandbox? How much air is inside the box? And then the word inside. I would write those down. Those are good cue words to know when you're reading any kind of word problem or anything. Our formula for volume is length times width times height. We're just multiplying those three numbers together. And our answer then is units, because we're multiplying three numbers together with a 3 on top of it, or cubed. So if we use our numbers from over here, we're going to write 12 times 7 times 4 for our example over here. 12 times 7 times 4 equals. I'm not sure on that answer. Please check that, because my sheet here I have 12 times 7 times 8. Well, let's see if I did it in my head here. 28 times 12. I do 16. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 0, 8, 2, 6, 13, 3. Well, I wrote the wrong number on my little guide there that I'm looking at, and I have the right answer. So it should be 336. If I write that down here, it takes 336 inches, because that was what we had in our units, cubed, to fill the box. Not too bad. If you have one with a triangular prism, remember, well, let me go, before I do that, I want to show you one thing here. If we think about the volume, it really is, and sometimes you're going to see it, this times this gives me the area of this rectangle, length times width. Here we've got length times width. Sometimes, and you might see it on your MCAs or something, they call that the base. So you might see base times height. Your worksheet might have that, where they just give you the area and you just have to multiply times the height. If you're thinking of a triangular prism, you're going to do these three numbers and divide by 2. Because to find the area of a triangle, we divide it by 2. So a triangular prism is length times width times height divided by 2. I can't remember if your worksheet had that. Some of the other shapes, look carefully, it gives you the base, and then you just have to multiply times the height. All right, we're going to skip the surface area. We're coming back to that probably Thursday, I believe. And we're going to look at a cylinder. Gee, Miss Martin, that looks like a lot like a can. It is. We're talking more liquid volume now. Although Pringles come in cans, nuts come in cans, so I guess other things can too. But again, when we talk about, we're going to look at circles, and if you remember circles, we had to have our radius. And I'm just going to draw a circle up here. And remember, if it goes all the way through, that's the diameter. So if we need to find the radius, when we know the diameter, it's the diameter divided by 2. Now if I label this, my radius here is 3 centimeters. And my height is 9 centimeters. I'm going to put another little note down here because when we talked about area of a circle, we talked about that lovely thing that made me hungry every time we talked about it, pi. And remember, pi equals 3.14. That is something you're going to be expected to remember soon. And again, when we're talking about volume, we're just going to rewrite this again. It is about how much it takes to fill the can, how much air might be in it, and that keyword inside. I think we even talked about a swimming pool, how much water is inside a swimming pool if it's a round one. The one outside in my yard is round. Now, if we're thinking a volume of the rectangular prism was length times width, which was the area, times the height, kind of going to do the same thing here for a circle. If you remember, the area of a circle was pi times the radius squared, and then we need to multiply times the height. And again, it's units cubed, because we're multiplying here twice and here's 3, so we put the 3 there. Hopefully this is coming in clearer than it looks here. Yeah, that's not very clear. Oh, there we go. It got clearer now. All right, here's our example, all right? So if I write this, pi, and I'm just going to write 3.14 down for pi, all right? My radius over here was 3, and it says 3 squared, so I'm going to write times 3 times 3. I'm going to write it 2 times. And then I have to multiply it times the height, which was 9. My answer I get, when you multiply all that, and please pause to give yourself a chance to do it, is 254.34. And if I fill it in down here, it takes 254.34 centimeters cubed to fill the can. Hopefully that gives you an example of what to fill in. You're just filling in. All you need to do are plug in the numbers for length times width times height up here, and the radius and the height. Make sure if it goes all the way across and is the diameter on a can or on a cylinder here, you divide it by 2 to get your radius. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you on Thursday.